what their family wants. They twist your words because the truth terrifies them. They don't want to hear what you said. They want to hear something they can weaponize. They want a version of your words they can manipulate, distort, and throw back at you like a dagger. But here's what nobody tells you: don't argue with a manipulator to win, you argue to expose. Let me make this clear. When someone starts twisting your words, they've already lost the argument. That's why they're playing dirty, because facts don't support them. Logic doesn't protect them. So they reach for lies dressed as misunderstandings. When someone twists your words, they are not engaging in a conversation. They are staging a performance, and they expect you to play the part of the fool. But the moment you start explaining yourself, trying to make them understand, you've already stepped into their trap. Because they are not seeking clarity, they are control. Every time you try to clarify, they pretend they don't get it. They act confused. They take one sentence and tear it out of context, stretch it, reshape it, and turn into a weapon aimed right back at you. And you, trying to be fair, trying to be kind, trying to be understood, end up stuck in a psychological tug of war where your sanity becomes the rope. You begin to question if you really did say it wrong. You wonder if you should have worded it differently. But that's not the problem. The problem isn't how you said it. The problem is they never wanted to hear it in the first place. They just wanted ammo. That's why you need to understand this. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every misquote needs a correction, and not every manipulator deserves your emotional energy. The second you see that someone is twisting your words, you must realize the game has changed. This is no longer about truth. This is about power. It's about throwing you off balance so they can feel in control. And the most dangerous thing you can do in that moment is try to fix it. Because you can't fix lies with more talking. You don't untangle manipulation with kindness. And you sure as hell don't find peace by begging someone to understand what they are deliberately distorting. They're not confused. They're calculated. They want you emotional. They want you flustered. They want you to doubt yourself so they can walk away feeling like the one in control. That's why you need to stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying what you meant. Stop giving them the satisfaction of watching you unravel. Every second you spend trying to make them get it is a second you're handing them more power over your mind. You don't need to justify your truth to someone who is committed to bending it. You don't need to perform mental gymnastics just to prove you're not the person they're painting you to be. If someone twists your words once, that's a red flag. If they do it twice, that's a pattern. And if you keep talking, thinking that logic will win the day, you've just handed them the script and let them rewrite your truth with a smile. The most powerful thing you can do is go silent. Not the kind of silence that retreats in fear, but the kind of silence that holds firm in self-respect. That's when you look them in the eye and say, "That's not what I said. That's your interpretation. And I'm not here to argue with your story." You drop it. You don't backtrack. You don't argue. You don't let them pull you into a battlefield where they control the rules and the weapons. Because once they realize you're no longer going to dance around their lies, they lose their grip. And trust me, they feel that shift. When you stop explaining yourself, you become dangerous. Not because you're loud, not because you fight back with rage, but because you've chosen a higher ground where their manipulation cannot reach you. People who twist your words rely on one thing: your emotional reaction, what their family wants. They feed off your need to be understood. But here's the true thing: you don't owe understanding to anyone who consistently misrepresents you. You don't owe endless explanations to people who turn your words into weapons. You owe yourself clarity. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the dignity of walking away with your truth still intact. The more you speak into chaos, the more you lose your voice. And when your voice is gone, they get to speak for you. They get to rewrite the narrative. They get to label you, define you, twist you into something unrecognizable. But when you stop explaining, you take that power back. You reclaim your truth not with words, but with boundaries, with refusal. And no, it won't feel easy. It won't feel comfortable. You've probably spent years being the peacemaker, the one who keeps explaining, keeps clarifying, keeps trying to make everyone see your heart. But let me tell you something that will change your life, egg people who value your heart won't twist your words. People who see your worth won't distort your message. The ones who love you will ask, "What did you mean?" Not accuse you of things you never said. So stop wasting your breath on the ones who don't care about the truth. Stop handing them your peace in exchange for a chance to be heard. You don't need to be heard by everyone. You need to be heard by yourself. Every time you defend yourself against a lie, you give it weight. You breathe life into it. And manipulators count on that. They twist your words, wait for your emotional reaction, and then use that reaction to say, "Look how defensive you are. You must be guilty." It's a cycle designed to trap you. But here's what destroys the whole gaming: not reacting, not explaining, not defending, just standing in your truth, standing in your clarity, standing in the powerful, grounded place that says, "I know who I am. I know what I said, and I don't need your approval to believe in myself." That kind of strength isn't loud, but it's unforgettable. So when someone twists your words, don't step into their storm. Don't try to prove yourself inside their chaos. That's their territory, and they will always win there. Instead, step out. Step above. Step back into your peace and hold it like a sword. Say less, mean more, and let the silence speak louder than any twisted version of your truth ever could. Because real power doesn't argue. It simply refuses to be pulled into games that aren't worth winning. You don't argue with someone who's your words to win them over. You argue to stay rooted in your truth, because the minute you start chasing their approval, you abandon yourself. That's the game they play. They distort your message, act like victims, flip the script, and wait for you to chase after them, explaining yourself like you're the one who did something wrong. But here's the part they never expect. You standing your ground without flinching, without doubting, trying to prove anything. That's when the power dynamic flips. That's when they realize they can't control the narrative anymore, because you're no longer begging to be understood. You've decided to be clear, not convincing. You've decided to be at peace, not in control. You've decided to protect your energy, not win a debate that was never going to be fair in the first place. Because when people twist your words, they aren't trying to hear you. They're trying to trap you. And the worst mistake you can make is thinking that logic, kindness, or compassion will fix a conversation that was designed to confuse you. You are not in that argument to change their mind. You are in it to protect your own. You are in it to say, "No, that's not what I meant," and leave it at that. You are in it to say, "I'm not going to let you rewrite my truth, just it makes you uncomfortable." Because the truth is, people who twist your words feel threatened by your clarity. They are uncomfortable with your confidence. So they twist, manipulate, and distort what you say to feel like they're back in control. But when you stay calm, when you stop trying to be liked, when you stop performing for their approval, you become a threat to every lie they're trying to sell. And in that moment, the argument stops being about them. It becomes about you holding the line, hold your dignity, holding your voice. You're not in that conversation to be understood. You're in it to be unshakable. The goal is not to get them to see the truth. The goal is to never lose sight of it yourself. Because if you lose that, they've won. And it's not because their argument was right. It's because they pulled you so deep into their chaos that you forgot what peace felt like. That's what manipulators do. They create confusion and then position themselves as the only one who understands what's going on. And if you fall for it, you start playing by their rules. You start responding to every misquote. You start justifying every sentence. You start watering down your truth so it doesn't offend their ego. But the moment you do that, you're not defending your truth anymore. You're defending their comfort. And that's not your job. Your job is to protect your mind from distortion, your soul from shame, and your truth from being stolen and repackaged into something you never meant. You can't control how people hear you, but you can absolutely control whether you abandon yourself trying to be heard. Arguing doesn't mean screaming. It doesn't mean dominating. It means refusing to let the lie win. It means saying, "This is who I am. This is what I said. And if you choose to twist it, that's on you." It means knowing that your words may be taken out of context, but your character never should be. Because once you realize that some people want confusion more than resolution, you stop handing them the blueprint to your peace. You stop letting them use your own words as weapons against you. You stop being reactive and you start being intentional. Every time you engage, you ask yourself one question: am I saying this because it aligns with who I am? Or am I saying this to convince someone who has already made up their mind? That question will save you. That question will free you. That question will teach you the most important lesson of all: self-abandonment in the name of being understood is just emotional suicide in disguise. You don't need them to validate your truth. You don't need them to agree with your version of events. Because truth doesn't become less true just because someone else refuses to accept it. You don't have to convince them that you're not what they accuse you of being. You just have to know that you're not. And when you know it deeply, when you believe it fiercely, when you hold that knowing like armor around your soul, their games stop working. Their tactics fall flat. Their misquotes lose power. Because your power is not in how many people agree with you. Your power is in how deeply you refuse to betray yourself. That is how you win arguments with people who twist your words. Not by shouting louder, but by standing taller. They expect you to crack. They expect you to panic. They expect you to unravel in front of them. But when you don't, when you stay poised, calm, and utterly unmoved, they feel it. They feel that shift. They feel the moment you stop seeking their approval and start reclaiming your own authority. Because nothing scares a manipulator more than someone they can't shake. You don't have to fight dirty to fight well. You don't have to match their chaos. You don't have to stoop to their level. You simply have to be so grounded in your truth that their lies echo in an empty room, because you're not there anymore. You've left the building. You've left the game. You've stopped playing. And that's when you become unstoppable. The argument was never about the words. It was about the power behind them. It was about who gets to control the story. And when you refuse to give that away, you win. Even if they scream louder, even if they twist more, even if they convince others. You still win because you didn't lose yourself, and that right there is the only victory that ever really matters. So let them twist. Let them spin. Let them perform. But you don't flinch. Don't chase. Speak once. Speak clearly. Then protect your peace like it's sacred. Because it is.